has utilized rail transport to bring products to Jinja storage terminal via the lake. The current lake transport facility ferry can only ship a maximum of 900,000 liters of diesel in 5 days. The transport notwithstanding, Unoc does not possess the financial muscle to facilitate trading activities. It was noted that in October 31st, 2022, Unoc had a trading stock level of 6,701,604 liters of both petrol and diesel at the Jinja storage terminal. Instead rents the premises out to other oil marketing companies. There is no evidence that Unoc currently fully utilizes the Jinja storage terminal. The tax regime. In Uganda, gasoline, diesel, aviation fuel, and kerosene attract an excise duty in form of a fixed fuel levy by category per liter imported. For each liter of fuel, there is an excise duty of 1,444 Uganda shillings for petrol and 1,140 for diesel. The chart shows the tax regime. The source is the East African tariff regime. The cost of taxation is inevitably transmitted to the final pump price, contributing to the fluctuation in price. The committee noted that the lack of a sole importer to supply Unoc is not the sole ground upon which the scarcity, fluctuation in prices, and non-direct participation by Unoc in the petroleum business. Thus, is not direct justification of amendment to facilitate Unoc as a sole importer for all petroleum products destined for the Ugandan market. Regional comparisons of retail pump prices. The figure below is as of 25th October 2023. Comparatively, retail pump price for both diesel and petrol were highest in Kenya, followed by Uganda and Tanzania. Currently, Uganda is a liberalized economy whose fuel pricing is determined by the market forces of demand and supply with little or no involvement of government. The committee notes that although the proposal in the clause shall eliminate 2 layers of middlemen from the petroleum supply chain, the introduction of Vito Bahrain EC still creates a layer of a middleman who shall still buy from a refinery and sell to Unoc at a markup. The committee further noted Uganda's commitments and obligation to equality and non-discrimination embedded in constitutional provisions, judicial decisions, policy, regional and international legal obligations, as well its policy as a liberalized free market economy. The committee noted that the bill offends the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, under whose objective 9 of the national objectives and directive principles of state policy provides that the state shall encourage private initiative and self-reliance in order to facilitate rapid and equitable development. This objective is in line with Section 2 of the Public Enterprises Reform and Divestiture Act 1993, the objective of which in part provides for the reduction of government entity holding in public enterprises and promotion of local entrepreneurship. Further, the bill violates Article 21 of the Constitution, which provides for a right to equality and freedom from discrimination, wherein all persons are equal before and under the law in all spheres of political, economic, social, and cultural life, and in every other respect, and shall enjoy equal protection of the law. Subsection 2 provides that, clause 2 of Article 21 provides that without prejudice to clause 1 of this article, a person shall not be discriminated against on the ground of sex, race, color, ethnic origin, tribe, birth, creed, or religion, social or economic standing, political opinion, or disability. Article 40, clause 2, entitles every person in Uganda to the right to practice his or her profession and to carry on a lawful occupation, trade, or business. The only exception to the enjoyment of these rights and freedoms is under Article 43, which prohibits a person shall not from prejudicing the fundamental or other human rights and freedoms of others or the public interest, which shall not permit political persecution, detention without trial, any limitation of the enjoyment of the rights and freedoms prescribed beyond what is acceptable, demonstrably justifiable in a free and democratic society, or what is provided in the Constitution. The committee notes that the proposed limitation of the enjoyment of economic rights through the creation of a monopoly is not justifiable in a free and democratic society. The committee noted that the clause contradicts Section 6, subsection 2, paragraph A and B, as well as Section 7F of the Principal Act, which obligate the minister to make legislation and regulations to secure adequate supply of petroleum products at competitive, I emphasize at competitive cost for all consumers, promote the increase of opportunities for regional petroleum trade, and encourage a diversity of supply sources, as well as the observance of the principle of free market economy and fair competition. The clause further offends Section 30 of the Principal Act, which prohibits activities against fair competition. The committee further noted that the Competition Bill 2023, as passed by Parliament, though not yet assented to by the President, was a government bill whose policy objective was to promote sustainable, fair competition in Uganda and prohibit anti-competitive agreements which have an adverse effect on competition in the market. It is important to take cognizance of its intended principles, which received cabinet approval before it was tabled in Parliament. The committee noted that Ugandan courts have struck out provisions of law that grant the government preferential treatment over private parties. For instance, in the case of Attorney General versus Ostrako, Civil Appeal number 32 of 2002, and Uganda National Resource Authority versus Vivo Energy Uganda Limited, High Court miscellaneous application number 209 of 2014, and Spedaga Interflight Uganda Limited and 3 others versus Attorney General and another constitutional petition number 85 of 2011. Further, the committee noted that the bill violates international instruments, including the Commercial Competition Regulations 2004 and the East Africa Community Competition Act 2006. The practices. Similarly, the East African Community Competition Act, to which Uganda is a signatory, stipulates as some of its objectives: protecting all market participants from freedom to compete by prohibiting anti-competitive practices, protecting the opening of partner states' markets against the creation of barriers, interstate precedents for monopolies in Uganda. Thus, the committee's decision against creation of monopoly for the petroleum sector. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that clause 1 be deleted from the bill. Interpretation. Clause 2.6 to introduce a definition of licensed oil marketing companies to mean a person granted a petroleum supply operations license under Section 17 to import petroleum products into Uganda. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that as a consequence of a rejection of Clause 3 and Clause 2 be deleted as well. Supply chain of petroleum products. Clause 3 of the bill seeks to substitute Section 29 of the Principal Act, which allows any person, whether Ugandan or foreign, to participate in all or any activities of the supply chain by restricting the importation and supply of petroleum products destined for the Ugandan market to the licensed oil marketing companies to be undertaken only by Unoc. The clause, however, empowers the minister by statutory instrument and exceptional circumstances with the approval of cabinet to nominate such other person to import and supply all or a portion of petroleum products. The exceptional circumstances where Unoc fails to import and supply petroleum products in any given month, or where Unoc becomes insolvent. The clause further obligates all licensed oil marketing companies to purchase all of their petroleum product requirements from Unoc or other nominated person by the minister. Committee observation is, the committee noted that Unoc is incorporated as a limited liability company solely owned by the government of Uganda, with its function set out in section 43 of the Petroleum Exploration, Development and Production Act 2013 to include A, to handle the state's commercial interests in the petroleum subsector, to manage state participation in petroleum activities, and to manage the business aspects of state participation. The committee further noted that under Unoc's Memorandum of Association, the objects of the company include to manage the state's commercial interests in the petroleum subsector on behalf of the Republic of Uganda, to manage state participation in petroleum activities, including its business aspects. The committee therefore noted that there is no legal deterrence to Unoc's participation in business in the petroleum sector. It should trade alongside other players, but perhaps offer more competitive prices that shall outcompete other players to create for it a natural monopoly. Committee recommends that the clause be deleted for buttressing the already rejected monopoly proposal, but also for providing for Unoc's right to engage in petroleum trade, a position that is already provided for in other legislations. Petroleum products to be imported and supplied by Unoc. Clause 4 introduces a third schedule which lists the petroleum products to be sourced and supplied by Unoc to include premium motor gasoline or super petrol, automatic gasoline or diesel, Jet A1 and dual purpose kerosene. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that the proposed third schedule be deleted consequential to the rejection of the bill. Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members, I beg to report.
Had their phones disconnected and SIM cards switched off, and most have been called for either a new verification exercise or update. Many people had their monies stored on their mobile wallets on their SIM cards and could not access it. As we speak, we have over 700,000 Ugandans and more who are living abroad that may not have access to these services, but have been using their functional SIM lines for either carrying out remittances at home or storage of their money on their mobile wallets, what we call the mobile money wallet. Now, recently, many have got communication of disruption in service to the effect that their SIM cards are no longer fully functional, and mainly to communication and operation of the mobile money wallets. Now, some were at the period where they were supposed to remit monies for school fees for their children, and others for their own operational businesses. Now, Right Honourable Speaker Nalongo, as the August House here, would like to be the voices of those people that cannot access these services for re-verification. That is one. Some are in the diaspora, but others are also here. The second issue is that those that have even gone back for re-verification have not found their monies on their mobile money wallets after re-verification. And others at some centers have been told to pay a certain sum of money. Now, the unpredictability of our investment society is a deterrence to investment. People should be able to know when they ought to either update their SIM card registration or re-verify. Secondly, we are going into a new phase because a SIM card should be either attached to your travel document, let's say passport, or to your national ID. Now, the issue before us here that we've been talking about was the countrywide update of the National Identification Card by NIRA. So we are going to go into an exercise of SIM card registration and a year later go back into an update exercise for national ID verification. Now, if there is no coordination between departments of government, and the regulator in that case should be the UCC that regulates these companies, there's a lot of cry about the operations of telecom companies in this country from our people, from people losing money from their mobile money wallets to the, of course, unstable internet that is not fully functional, like you can see, the poor bundle services that they are handling, but also the poor speeds of the internet that we have. But also finally, what is very pressing now, Right Honorable Speaker, is that there are over 1 million people who cannot access their mobile money wallets, that some are in the diaspora, others are here, and who is using their money for short-term borrowing and trading. We must audit that as Parliament. Therefore, we must...
What's your prayer?
My prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, is that the Minister in charge of my ICT, my good friend, the Honorable Dr. Chris Variomus, comes here and informs the country as to why his government thinks you're doing a favor to the people to be on the telecom platforms, and why there is this disruption year after year and uncoordinated movement in the way you operate. UCC calls for verification, and before you know, we shall have new countrywide SIM card, national ID verification and update. So how many times shall we be moving hence and forth?
Thank you. Honorable Chris, you'll have to... Dr. Otaala, thank you for the report. And you've had both reports. I'll open minimum debate. And as I said before, these reports are informative. What matters is the clauses. Yes, Stephen?
To put in place an institution that would take care of our interests in the oil sector. And that is the Uganda National Oil Company. One of the major mandates is to take care of our interests collectively as a people. It beats my understanding when I hear some quarters of this country, some members, trying to want to put their interests in private companies. How can that be, Right Honorable Speaker? The Uganda National Oil Company, we should collectively empower them to take care of our interests. It's like a child at home. When a father is at home, those children, the parents take care of them. When they are sick, they must be taken to hospital. When it comes to schools, you want the best for your child. And therefore, the Uganda National Oil Company, for me, it is not right for us to use middlemen in Kenya to feed us when we could empower our own, our child. We are a government, we are a people. There is nothing better than empowering our own institutions. We are always crying here about strengthening institutions. And this is an opportunity to strengthen our own institution that can take care of our interests. What is wrong with our own child? Unoc, partaking of those profits the third parties are taking in Kenya. And for me, the way I sit, Right Honorable Speaker, Unoc, because the member alluded to a lot of laws, and I'm a lawyer. Under Article 40, where economic interests are provided, this law does not seek to stifle the businesses of these private companies. They can still get these products from Unoc as if they are getting them from those third parties they are getting from in Kenya. And business will be done without any stifling. So no one is being thrown out of business. It is just empowering Unoc to act as if it were those middlemen in Kenya, earning a lot of money from us.
Things in his submission, government is coordinated, and the various agencies of government, UCC, NIRA, Ministry of Security, Ministry of ICT, we are coordinated and harmonized. I will come with a statement, maybe written, maybe next week. But for now, what I can confirm is that under the leadership of UCC, there has been a process of verification of SIM cards. And if your card was not verified, if you use it to call, there would be a reminder that between now and 11th November, please verify this card, otherwise it will be switched off. Even me, my Airtel card, I had to go for verification, and no money was charged from me. So the process is on, but I will come with a written statement, maybe Tuesday, if you give me time to give the details.
Thank you.
But we shall investigate whether in the process people's money is being removed from the SIM cards.
Yes.
So the issues of the diaspora, we shall come with the answers.
Finance has a response on money. You know, it talks money.
But it is also true that next year, through NIRA, there will be a mass registration of all citizens. And there is no contradiction with the current process of verifying SIM cards, because, no. You can get the new ID, but the NIN can remain the same. So there is no contradiction at all. All these activities are harmonized and are well coordinated within the government. Thank you very much.
And it is also good for us to continuously have updates and verification. Let's run away from the dependency syndrome. We want to depend on those brokers. Leon.
That one of the benefits of this exercise is to reduce or eliminate cyber crimes which are committed using telecommunication, because you find there are people who have SIM cards, they are not registered in their names, and they use them to commit crimes. So one of the benefits of this exercise is to make sure that if you have a SIM card, it is in your names, and you are responsible for anything you do using that SIM card. So we call upon members and the public to cooperate with the government to make sure that we have SIM cards registered. It
was actually the move of computer misuse.
Absolutely.
So it's
a written statement to answer all the issues, but I also engage Honorable Sereko to give me more details so that we can have a comprehensive response on the issues being raised.
Finance. Thank you, Doctor.
Speaker, allow me take this chance to also congratulate you upon the twins. I also speak in the capacity of Salongo, so welcome to the family. Thank you,
Speaker. In the year 2020, this House enacted a law called National Payment Systems Act. This act established a platform where all electronic money is regulated by Bank of Uganda. I wish to allay the fears of Honorable Sereko that those who are being cut off, their money is being lost. That is not the case. All this money settles in Bank of Uganda, and the customers, the owner, the claimants of the money, there is a mechanism in the Bank of Uganda where they can claim all these balances. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable David.
Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I'm here in support of the bill. Right Honorable Speaker, Unoc is a Ugandan company. Right Honorable Speaker, Unoc stands to serve the interest of this nation, Uganda. Who are the shareholders? We have Ministry of Finance that is representing this country with 51% of the shares. 49. Then we've got Ministry of Energy having 51% of the shares. Right Honorable Speaker, my colleagues, you know what we've been going through with oil and fuel prices in this country. You who are listening to me in this house, you're also victims. You know what I'm talking about in commerce. We are tired of our prices being controlled by neighboring countries. We are not against other players, the private companies in this business. But Unoc is here to serve the interest of government in the oil sector. So it beats my understanding when I see my colleagues, instead of joining efforts to see that we support Unoc, they are trying to serve selfish interests of private companies in this country.
Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Allow Allion to speak. Allion, Mama, you speak.
Right, Honorable Speaker, we have regulators. We are not saying Unoc is going to run as an independent company. No. We've got the Uganda Petroleum Authority. These are some of the regulators. So it's not going to run independently, as my colleagues think. Right Honorable Speaker, with those few words, as we plan and join our submissions, think about these members who are victims of the high price of fuel. Thank you.
Me and him were in the same business. Then after Nathan, I will have Katesh. Honorable members, you clap for the Cavaletti.
And honorable members, the Speaker of Kabale District Council, Madam Flavia Kanagizi, is actually a mother-in-law of the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, and she's here. So we want to congratulate you, Madam Speaker, and we pray and hope that now you have a new status of Nalongo that gives you momentum to fight for causes of health, especially reducing the maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate in our country. Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, our mother-in-law.
I want to state from onset that nobody is saying Unoc should not do business of fear. Nobody has stopped them. Nobody. And the law allows them to do it. If they wanted the money, they should have brought here a budget of $100 million. We give them to go directly to the refinery. Nobody stops them, Madam Speaker. And I want to ask the President and the people advising the President that is important we give Unoc money.
Honorable Nankabira, can you listen?
It is to ask that the Unoc should be given money and it trades directly from the refinery. Because when you say you're bringing Vito, now some of you may not be knowing it. It is the shareholder of Vivo Energy. Yeah, it's the own share. And Vivo Energy is the one trading as a share. They are using just a trademark, but in short, what they are trying to do now, they are going to come through their refinery, whatever called the refinery, through Unoc to Vivo, and they are going to control this market. And I can tell you what you are trying to do, you may have been done it for them to make money and at the expense of people of Uganda. Madam Speaker, I have seen your order paper today, which you've approved. And under one of the clauses is 3. You're saying rationalization of government agencies, repeals and amendment bill 2023. Madam Speaker, this was put in because that there are some agencies which are not performing, and you need to merge them to do some active. But even Unoc must have failed, because if we have 30 million liters in ginger, they don't have even 1 liter to rush to put there so that they regulate the market. They are making a mistake. Madam Speaker, let me give an example of Bank of Uganda. Bank of Uganda is in the forex. I want to talk about on the forex. When the dollar goes too high, they come in to bring in money to bring it down. When the money becomes too low, they go in to mop it out so that the price stabilizes. Unoc could be operating like Bank of what? Uganda. They don't come in to remove forex bureaus. What you do, you regulate the market so that the economy moves. And I want to explain to you how the economy moves in the fuel market. Madam Speaker, oil is the first traded commodity in the whole world. And everybody would love to deal in fuel. And I want to speak and tell you that, one, if you wanted to, that anybody wanted to get, maybe let me ask a question which the minister will answer. How did you get veto in the market? How? Because we in public, we advertise. And when we advertise, people pick their bids and come in, the best bidder evaluated is the one who takes the contract. But this one, I have read all the newspapers. I have even read The Economist, because I read economics. I have not seen an advert by Unoc that it's looking for somebody to supply from the foreign. Amos, Enos, I will help you. Don't panic.
Nathan has a procedure matter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Nandala is raising. What Honorable Nandala is raising is also a food for thought. Now, Nathan is raising an issue that we've already entered into an agreement with the VTOC. How did we reach that level? And that is something that should be corrected in the law. That before you enter into such an agreement, it must be approved by this House. Huh?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when we come in the House for the interest of the country, if you have personal interests, I'm not interested in them. Yes, I want to tell you that. Because what I'm trying to explain, I have not raised anything against. Please. Hold on what? Madam Speaker, I want to beg you to do
Can you conclude?
Yes,
I've understood what you're saying.
Yes, no, Madam Speaker, I want to beg you that maybe again you should do an induction for members of parliament. Yes. Because the way they are behaving, they are making the House look. Madam Speaker, I want to move on and say, I have the following, which I want to lay on the table, maybe for members to really follow for this purpose of the law. Madam Speaker, I sorted them. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, there is the Constitutional Court Constitutional Petition number 85 of 2011, which is about spendage interflight, SD trans, which Kamba talked about. There is a ruling, Madam Speaker, and maybe for purpose of this committee, for this meeting, the ruling is very clear. Unfortunately, the judges on that include, at that time, Onyedoro now is the Supreme Court Chief Justice.
Why is it unfinished?
No, because if the matter goes again to court there, he will refer to his court. The lower court. That during my lower court, I ruled like this. I don't think he will run away. Of course, Kenneth Kakuru, the late. The ruling is this. I will just mention just a few, but the ruling is this, Madam Speaker. This is where you can't beat me. I would therefore declare that the act of the respondents executing a contract which purported to vest monopoly rights over clearing, forwarding, and handling services of all imports and exports to and from Uganda through the port of Mombasa in the second respondents is inconsistent with and in contravention of Article 42, Article 43 of the Constitution, and that extent null and void. I would grant the petitioner's costs of this petition, signed on 25th day of August 2020. And Madam Speaker, the Attorney General was then the one who was taken to court with Great Lakes. When the Great Lakes wanted, you had signed a contract, they wanted the monopoly. I lay on the table. Madam Speaker,
Attorney General, I hope you're taking note.
There is the supplementary. This is the East African Community Competition Act 2006, arrangements of the section, but specifically, Section 5 says prohibition of anti-competitive concerted practices. It was signed by the President of Uganda on 22nd of December 2011. This one is against monopoly or competitiveness where there is ant. And Madam Speaker, unless we are moving away from this Africa, I lay it on the table. Madam Speaker, there is the PAD statute, which we have read about, which, all of you, I am going to lay it. This one removed where they said government is a poor businessman, or we can say woman. And Madam Speaker, okay.
No.
Man, okay.
Information.
Okay.
So you've given out the microphone?
Information.
You've given out the microphone?
That's enough. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Nandala Mafabi, thank you for the wise information. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Like the Honorable Nandala Mafabi has said, we are not against Unoc. But in your report clearly, you've informed this House that Unoc is unable. And therefore, it identified a partner by signing an MOU. And the question is that if you're kicking out middlemen,
maybe, and it is also saying that it is also capable of identifying other partners.
Agreed, Right Honorable Speaker, and we are not objecting to that. And we are the same House that sat here and passed a law against that would fight the tendency of creating monopolies in this economy. And the reason is to start giving a policy that gives other startups empowerment, just like we are empowering Unoc, but there are also other players. The issue is, and what countrymen will ask us, that we've knocked ourselves before on the matter of Umeme, in the matters of Bujagali, in the matter of Dura Cement, in the matter of Peneti, in coffee, and in the matter of Rubowa Hospital again. And we are coming back as the same House. How shall we explain to the people that we are the very same House that comes here and legislates after agreements have been entered into by government without consulting the people and without involving the people of this country? So the information I wanted to give the Honorable Nandala Mafabi, that we are well informed about the status of Unoc, and we must not be seen to come here to only buttress the agreement that was signed between Unoc and Vitol. Give other players chance, and then you can come back so that we legislate for fair competition.
Madam Speaker, I'm happy that my brother Felix Okot is around. Madam Speaker, there are so many fuel companies. There's BP, there's Excel, there's a Total Energy. There are so many. And if government of Uganda wanted, it would have come up and said, we cannot have only one, but many. And if you have many, there would be no issue being raised. And if you want us to empower Unoc, we can do it. Even we can do a tax levy on fuel and say 100 shilling will go towards empowering Unoc, so that tomorrow they are capable to run on this own. We did it to New Vision, and after New Vision had picked up, we allowed other monopolies to do. We said nobody will advertise anywhere in Uganda on government contracts apart from what? New Vision.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, I want to conclude. I want to conclude just more things. Madam Speaker, you need information to help. I was in the meeting where a group called SIPA. These are calling themselves something on a name. Sustainable Energies and Petroleum Association. I hope the chair was on that meeting with the chair in the committee. And they were argument, they were saying they wanted more items to be added on the list. But the people who have SIMPA are basically members of Vivo Energy. And Madam Speaker, they came to support. Then when members asked, where are other members of SIPO like Total, like Corex, they said they were busy not coming. And I would like the chairman sent the CID to pick the document. They came without no document. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, I want to state this, that one, nobody is fighting Unoc. What we want to do is let Unoc come here with a budget. We give them money to go to the refinery. We shall give a guarantee. Two, many companies appeared before the committee. They said they have capacity. Madam Speaker, the moment you sign a contract of 2.5 million liters by Vito to Vito, that one government of Uganda will never go bust. Whoever, that company is going to go all over the world to source money and come and supply. And the money they are going to get has interest. First, there will be interest on the money. There will be their margins, and there's a monopoly. The moment you create monopoly in this country, the same prices are going to go high. I would plead, members, that for now, the committee should be funded. Madam Speaker, if you agree, this committee should be funded to go and visit oil refineries. We can send you either Singapore or Saudi Arabia or even in Dubai you'll get. You go and learn how fuel is there at a refinery. Madam Speaker, a refinery also, it is like a maize mill, where people who have deal in maize take to the maize mill to mill. Then there will be buyers. I get it, Madam Speaker. Even those who bring crude oil come and refine their crude oil to a finished product, but that is a maize mill now. So it is the one which may be knowing who are the buyers. But the owners of the oil are those of the crude what? Oil. And nobody should lie you, it is the refinery which is a problem. The problem is the crude oil dealers, and the refinery knows who are the crude oil dealers and who can buy fuel from the refinery. Madam Speaker, when they demonstrated that picture there, that picture was just trying to take us away. The true story is that most of the big companies, like let's say Shell and Vivo, for them, if you have a managing director in the UK, his salary, there will be a portion on that liter sold in Uganda. So that liter you buy here in Uganda has cost overheads up there. Now you'll discover that there are smaller dealers who have no big overcost. Their pump price is too low because the overhead costs are too low. And that's where we could be fighting and say, is it possible for you to go to the refinery and get the crude oil and we deal with it, but not to be told, which is going to be very expensive. I let my case.
Honorable Katesh.
To facilitate clearance of fuel into this country for many years. And I would like to give information. First of all, strategically, we need to support the bill. And I will explain. Right Honorable Speaker, all the fuel that comes to Uganda goes through either Mombasa or Dar es Salaam. The government in the neighboring country decided to move away from the existing system, OTS, which was running at premiums as low as $35 per metric ton. And they negotiated premiums of 118 per metric ton in the case of gasoline. That negotiation includes the fuel destined to Uganda. They negotiated a 6-month credit period, but our companies here, when they go to lift the fuel, they must pay up front, meaning that the money that our companies were paying goes directly, is kept in the country to help its forex, and then they pay the company 6 months later. Who is suffering? The Ugandan consumers. So what this bill is trying to ensure, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, is number one, we can negotiate our premium that is much lower than what our neighbors have negotiated. And I think the minister indicated the target that they have set, although I would think that maybe it could even go down. Number two, the region receives around 6 ships of fuel in Mombasa. It has been receiving this fuel as a regional stock, and then it is pumped through the Kenyan pipeline system to Uganda through Eldoret, Kisumu, and other places. Along the way, there are middlemen. What the government is trying to cut now is the middlemen out of the process. So, as it is now, what government is trying to do, looking at our fuel needs per month, which is around 200 million liters monthly, is that Uganda will be able to have 2 ships dedicated for Uganda. If there are no supply chain constraints, then that gives us security of fuel. But that will depend on how organized and how the ministry regulates this process. Now, Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Unoc, the best circumstances would have been that Unoc is capitalized, right? Yes. To buy directly this fuel from refineries. That should be the future that we should be looking at. Listen. When I talk about future, future can be tomorrow.
No, it's not the future.
That should be the ideal situation. This house is in charge of appropriation.
Honorable members, it's just a matter of wording. It is an ideal illustration. That's what we should do. There's a motion. There's a motion. We have 118 virtually, and I have 68. I mean, in the House, fiscally 118 and virtually 68. So we have the quorum. I put the question that the Petroleum Supply Amendment Bill 2023 be read for the second time. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Petroleum Supply Amendment Bill 2023. Clause 1.
Clause 1. There is no amendment. Yes.
Madam Speaker, Clause 1 is the one deleting competition in the oil sector. Madam Speaker, I wanted to propose that Clause 1 be deleted. The justification is that Clause 1, we facilitate the Nile Oil Company, the Unoc, Uganda National Oil Company, to be given money also to compete with others in the oil sector. Failure to do that, we are creating a monopoly which will be dangerous for this country.
Otaala is saying we should delete so that we remove the monopoly of Unoc. Members, for me, is that how there is a cone? Honorable members, Honorable Nathan is saying that we should delete that clause. No. Have you put a question? I am going to put a question on Nandala's proposal. Those in favor of deleting the clause, say aye to the contrary, nay. Honorable members, the nays have it. I put a question that clause 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I put a question that clause 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 3.
Clause 3. I put a question that clause 3 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
I put a question that clause 4 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Schedule.
Schedule. I put a question that the schedule stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. Aye. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of the Whole House reports thereto.
Honorable members, I put a question that the House does resume and the Committee of the Whole House reports thereto. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.